Hi, I'm Lynn Broderick, and I'm here today with Dennis Brimhall, who is the CEO of FamilySearch International, and AJ Jacobs, who is heading up the Global Family Reunion. We're here at RootsTech 2015, and I'd like to welcome you gentlemen here today. I've learned during the opening session that you are cousins.
We are cousins.
We are indeed.
30 steps removed, but that's still a cousin.
But I love him like a first cousin.
Of course.
Ah, yes. That is a great concept. Now tell me a little bit more about how you got into all of this, just briefly.
Sure.
You came across what type of, it wasn't a first cousin that got you into genealogy.
No, I got an email from a guy I never knew who said, I'm your 12th cousin. I thought maybe he's going to ask me to wire $10,000 to his Nigerian bank. Turns out he really is into family history, has a huge family tree. I was immediately blown away, addicted by this idea that we are all connected. And now, this is the most exciting time in genealogy because you've got technology like FamilySearch and DNA where you can actually figure out how you're cousins and related to all of these people, almost everyone on Earth. So that's how I started, and it's all thanks to FamilySearch and their partners that this is possible, that you're able to make these massive family trees.
So let me ask you, when was the first time you ever looked at the FamilySearch website?
The first time was, I am a newcomer, so I have only been doing this about 2 years. So it's probably about 2 years ago.
Okay, how much has FamilySearch grown in the last 2 years?
Well, FamilySearch, of course, we've been collecting records for 100 years almost, and seriously for a long time. But, you know, for a lot of that, it was just collection and storage, and the technology didn't make it available to kind of really share it. So it's been in the last half dozen years or so that the technology has been available, particularly with the internet, to be able to share that and to not only share what you have, but to have people add to it. So the real issue is that, let's say that you have a family tree and somebody else has a family tree or something, how can they add to that so that now you're connected? And that is the global family concept is, we're all connected. So it's just been in the last few years that the ability really to say, hey, we know, we can see how we're connected. We can see that we're cousins and we're part of this global family. And so the change has really come through acquiring more records, getting them imaged and indexed, making them searchable so that people can add them. And now we can even hint. So we can now go to an ancestor and say, we think we know something about that ancestor. We'd like to show you. In the old days, it was completely research. You had to look at microfilm and look at old records. Well, we do the researching for you now, which makes the connecting up so much easier than we had before. This is pretty new stuff.
So when did you learn that you were a cousin to AJ, or AJ, when did you learn you were a cousin to Dennis Brimhall?
Recently, probably about 3 months ago. We have many of people from FamilySearch and other volunteers are really entranced by this idea that we're one big family. So we have dozens of people working to connect everyone in the world. And we figured out how we're connected.
Yeah, I think it was, we better see if we can practice what we preach here. So if we're talking about a global family, we better find out whether we're connected.
That is so true.
In all honesty, the staff do that. But we have people who are the best at doing this research of anybody around. I mean, we do these family histories for heads of state and everything else, and we just turn them loose on this. And I think it's interesting because, I mean, if you look at our histories, you come from the East, New York.
Right.
I come from the West, but it's through Massachusetts. But there's probably no normal reason to say we'd be connected, but we are connected. I mean, you just can find those links.
And we're probably connected in 18 different ways, but we only know one. Yeah. Because that's what's amazing, is that we are all interconnected.
And then here's the thing, is I always remember if you're driving down the street and somebody honks at you, you want to kind of do this. But if you look in there and find out it's your cousin, you don't do that. And so you treat people different if you know you're related.
I love that idea. And that is one of the things that's really inspired me and driven me to do this, is that hopefully we will be kinder to each other. Now, I have 3 sons and I've seen them wrestle with each other, so I know it's not always the case, but I do think that Dennis is right, that we treat each family just a little bit better.
I think if you know you're related, and even if it's a long way away. Now, I didn't know about this relationship, and I know of AJ, but I don't know a lot about him. But the fact that I know we're cousins, it's different. I mean, the fact is, there's a different connection by virtue of that than there was without it. Life will say, or history will determine whether those kind of connections make a difference. But there's no question, there's something different when you know you're related.
I feel that too. I call it the ultimate social network. It's like Facebook, but on steroids, that we are actually able to figure out not just that we're friends, but that we're
actually
family.
Yeah.
Now, ethnicities throughout the world, how do you connect? What is your background? You were showing today I believe German was up there,
No,
but not a
I'm-
Roman soldier.
I'm not a Roman soldier, in spite of the fact that I wanted to convince everybody that.
Yes.
I am just long-term, right out of Middle England. I mean, that's as far back as I can go. That's about it. Now you get these kind of fictitious genealogies where you can go clear back through Charlemagne and everything, and those are pretty suspect. But the reality is that I'm from, on both sides, I'm from English stock. Yeah.
And I'm mostly European, Poland, Ukraine, Russia. So I wish that I had more of a, I love it when people have 14 different ethnicities mixed together.
Yeah.
But I'll take what I can get.
Well, and me too. I mean, I'm mostly there. Not 75% is me from out of England, but I noticed there was a French there. I have a great-grandmother whose maiden name was Gutau. It's a French name. So I'm kind of proud of that.
Great.
Little German, little Netherlands over there. So you look at these little connections and you say, well, look, I'm part French. I'm proud of that.
And one of the DNA tests I took said I was about 5% Scandinavian, which was great because I live in New York and we had a terrible winter, so it gives me fortitude. I can get through this.
Well, and it also says that we ultimately, as we branch out with the immigration from the beginning, we were basically, when we come back and immigrate, we're all related, no matter what our ethnicity. Now, how would we go about proving how we're related to you for this global family reunion? It's going to take place June 6th.
June 6th, 2015, and it's going to be, we're going to have speakers and music and food and celebrate genealogy and family connection. And well, there too, of course, you can go to FamilySearch and figure it out that way. They have a relative finder. Also, globalfamilyreunion.com, and we have a little form. You put in your grandparents' names and birth dates, and we have these amazing researchers, many from FamilySearch, who help you figure it out.
Now, if someone's unable to prove a connection to you by June 6th, can they still come?
Of course. It is open to every member of the human family, all 7 billion invited.
So if you couldn't run your ancestry back to jolly old England, bring your son. That's family history. Come with your mother. That's family history. Family history is as much as going forward as much going back. So when we get together and celebrate the fact that we're part of a global family, remember our great-grandchildren will be part of that same global family. And so it's every bit as much this way as it is this way.
That is true. And we will have descendants in common, just like we had ancestors in common.
We will have descendants in common, and who knows, they may get connected up beyond us,
or because of us.
Or because of us, who knows? Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I understand that our time is up. I thank both of you for coming today and allowing me to talk with you a little bit about this Global Family Reunion and FamilySearch's role and major role in bringing together this family tree.
We're really happy to be a major sponsor of this. This is right down the road of our core values and what we're about, and we commend AJ for not only having the thought process to put it together, but he, of course, is blessed with the contacts and the ability to promote it that we would never have. And so we're grateful to be a good partner here.
And I am so grateful that they are partnered. It could not be done without them. So I'm just delighted. And I agree, our messages are the same, this idea of big family.
And we're cousins.
Family cousins.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hold up a sign one day and say, I'm a cousin.
I
love
love
you
it.
like a first cousin.
Yeah, isn't that great?
I think
great
that's a
son.
great line.
Okay,
So
thank you
very much.
Thank you,
bet,
Lynn.
Lynn.